Question 2. Okay, question 2. This is from Jay. Jay says he struggles with texting in between seeing a woman. So in between seeing each other, he wants tips to keep her interest without pushing or coming off needy. And then he also was wondering if there are other forms of communication to keep intrigue. So intrigue is the concept I used to talk about a lot with when I was working with Vin DiCarlo. So I have texts. Oh, I hate texts. I can't read my own handwriting. So he says I hate text. Okay. Well, yeah, I think a lot of guys hate text. Texting is a new thing. It's a new way of communicating. And I've noticed that guys, I would say 30-ish, maybe 35 and up, tend to struggle with texting. And I mean, some guys pick it up, but it's definitely an acquired skill because it's different. I remember when I was a kid, I had like a house phone, like a landline, and having a cordless phone was like a big deal. That was like really cool when those became, common household items. It was like, whoa, I can walk anywhere in the house. And younger generations probably think that's hilarious. So, in terms of communicating with a woman in between actually seeing her, there's several different things. Social media, as far as like Facebook Messenger, not so much email, Snapchat, any of these messaging apps, any of these apps that you can have on your phone where you can message each other. Women prefer different ones. So, my girl right now, women prefer different ones. So my girl loves Snapchat. I hate it. So we snap sometimes, but for the most part we text. Sometimes we'll email each other stuff we like. So like if it's a website that, sometimes we email if, we're sharing a website that we're interested in. But as far as like when you first meet a woman, this is actually really important. I would ask her how she likes to communicate. Like ask her what her favorite app is for messaging and find that out, because if she's really into Snapchat and then you're texting her on simple SMS, she might not be as responsive. And then you're over here thinking, well, maybe she doesn't like me all that much. Oh man, that sun is right in my eyes. Okay, so as far as how to continue the interaction without coming off needy, I don't like the mindset of trying to not do something. So by trying to avoid being needy or trying to avoid being pushy, your behavior is going to come off unnatural. It would be very similar to, I give this analogy a lot. When I was younger, I shoplifted. Like, I probably did it more than once, but there's one time I really remember where I stole an expensive sweater from Eddie Bauer at the mall. I was like in high school, and middle school actually. So I remember my mindset, when I had the sweater, like, what did I do? I think I put it on under my shirt, or I put it in a bag or something. And my mindset coming out of the dressing room, I'm making my way to the door. So my mindset is, don't look guilty, don't look nervous. And of course, I'm sure I looked nervous. Now, luckily I didn't get caught. But that mindset of, don't screw up, basically. That'll mess you up. That'll actually make you screw up. Instead, we want to focus on what to do. And so I think there's underlying this question is this fear that if you're not continually entertaining her and seducing her, like making her horny, but also making her laugh and making her do this and making her do that, you're already a dancing monkey in your head, right? You're basically trying to dance for this woman. A better mindset is to get her to dance for you, but not dance in a way where she's trying to impress you, although that's better than you trying to impress her. But more so get her to express herself and express her personality, express her thoughts, her feelings, really draw her out. So your focus should be learning about her. And of course, specifically what to say, what to do, there's infinite ways to do this. You can do it with questions, obviously. And you can start small, asking her how her day was. What makes it work is that there's a goal, there's a focus, which is to learn about her. Not just her lifestyle and what she does, but how she thinks. As she opens up to you, talks more about herself to you, she'll feel more connected to you. She'll feel closer to you because she'll feel like you know her better than other people, especially other guys. So while all the other guys are trying to impress her and trying to not look needy and not look pushy, or they are needy and pushy, and they're just completely, they have no self-awareness, you're the guy who's not even thinking about that and is instead focused on her. So learn about her. Now, you don't want this to turn into an interview where you're grilling her and it's just question after question. You want to balance your questions with statements about yourself. So, ask her a question. If she doesn't ask you the question back, like if she doesn't say, so what about you? You could just answer yourself. You could just talk about yourself. You don't need permission to do that. So she's getting to know you, you're getting to know her. And that's really your goal in between hanging out. You shouldn't see this as a different thing than when you're spending time with her. The whole thing is just you guys connecting, you guys just getting to know each other. Some of that is through texting, some of that is in person, some of that is with your clothes off in bed or wherever. It's all one thing. It's you and she are dancing together, basically. Last little part of this texting stuff, a lot of times guys will show me their text messages and I'll analyze them, and this can be really helpful. So if you feel like you're having problems with texting, you can email me at brian@gobeyonddating.com or go to the private group on Facebook and send a join request, and then you can ask your question there, or you can if you want to get coaching, you can email me personally. I'm not going to answer your questions on email, but we can potentially set up a coaching session. And what I'll do is I'll analyze text messages. So you just show me the screenshots of your conversations and we'll break it down. Because the thing about texting is it's kind of an art, but there's also certain guidelines. And of course you can break these guidelines, but one guideline is you don't want to be sending her texts that are longer than her texts. So your text shouldn't be longer than her text. Now, you don't want to be counting your words and be too precise about it, but if your text is like 3, 4, 5 lines and hers is only like 1, 2, 3, you're gonna have to relax a little bit with that. Frequency of texting, response rate, you basically kind of want to mirror what she's doing. That's a good rule of thumb. Just mirror what she's doing. And, a real quick gauge of this, real quick like litmus test before you send off a text is just ask yourself, hey, if she texted me this, what would I think? Would it come off needy, pushy? But, that doesn't always fly because sometimes guys do want to just get into a heavy conversation, especially, like if you're an introvert and you think a lot like I do. You don't like small talk. You want to get to the meat and potatoes. And a lot of times with women, texting is, I think another good guideline is just to keep it pleasant. Don't get too heavy. We don't want to start sharing our life philosophies on texting. If you got a good little quote or a good little motto or just a simple mindset about your philosophy on life or something, that's fine. But we don't need to start analyzing and getting too heavy. It's think about what it is. You're passing notes. You're passing notes. It's the easiest way to think about it. Okay? All right, I think I beat that to death.